Greetings everybody, this is Serpentine for Greetings everybody, this is Serpentine 451 here, and welcome to another episode of Fate Index. This particular week's episode is on the Rider class servant, and since no one really said anything in the comments section, I should really do something about that. But anyway, the Rider that I chose is a representative of Fate Grand Order. It is the Rider Boudica. Now, this is someone that I actually know a little bit about before going into her Fate incarnation. Boudica is the queen of the Iceni tribe of Britain during Roman expansion into Britannia. And she made a last-stand effort to defeat the Romans after the Roman legions killed her husband and brutally raped not only herself but her daughters. And as an act of revenge against the Romans that did a heinous crime against them, she waged war and won victory after victory against the Romans until she met her death. It is believed that in some of the subways in Britain, one particular one that I can't name off the top of my head, you could see her ghost fighting spectral Romans. It's actually quite spooky if you really think about it. It's quite interesting. Now with Boudica, she is an interesting servant. When Fate interpreted her, they made her into a big sister archetype, especially connected to those of the Knights of the Round Table and those who are connected to Britain. She sees them as little brothers and sisters, giving her this older sister motherly personality. And given the fact that she is summoned as a writer in the game, and also capable of being summoned as a berserker and an avenger, both classes perfectly fitting for her, given her history and lore. But what's most interesting, she's also connected to Nero. One of the things she detests the most are Roman servants. Her skills are actually connected to the effectiveness against Roman servants, and she goes by an interesting moniker, the Queen of Victory. That's because it was believed that she was protected by the goddess of victory amongst the Celtic gods. So let's get into a little bit of what makes Boudica a very interesting servant. Let's go with her strength is at C, her endurance at B+, C agility, D mana, D luck, and B+ noble phantasm. Her class skills include a writing at A, and a magic resistance at D. Her personal skills include Oath to the Goddess at B, Battle Continuation at A, and Protection from Adreste at A. And then she has two noble phantasms, the Chariot of Boudicca and the Sword of Boudicca. So what's interesting about all these different noble phantasms? It's interesting to say is that Boudica, sure, she may be the big sister archetype, but she's also a very vengeful, heroic spirit. She hates Nero, even though she was introduced primarily in her role in the Septim chapter, the Septim Singularity, which featured Nero prominently. And she may hate Nero. In fact, she hates all Roman servants that are summonable. In fact, Oath to the Goddess increases her capabilities against Roman servants. It's actually kind of cool and interesting. So let's get to her noble phantasms. The first one being her Sword of Boudicca, or aka the Sword Without Promised Victory, is a one-handed sword used by Boudica, said to be crowned with the name of Victory by Boudica herself. Well, like Boudica herself, but is not comparable to a holy sword. But it is not a holy sword of the planet that belongs to promised victory. It is only an imperfect sword of wishes. The hilt and ornate jewel are initially red, but will become blue once she ascends, since there are different tiers of ascension for all Grand Order servants, regardless if they came from other series or Grand Order itself. And what's interesting about the sword is that it's able to shoot small mana projectiles, not strong enough to kill a servant in one hit, but able to be fired rapidly at a low, convenient cost. It can be activated without calling its true name, but by unleashing its true name, it can fire a barrage of mana projectiles. And it also kind of looks like Excalibur in terms of its design, which makes it very fitting for her to be the big sister or mother archetype to all British servants. Now let's get to her noble phantasm featured predominantly in the game and used as her noble phantasm. Chariot of Boudicca, Chariot without promised protection, is the main noble phantasm of Boudica. The original chariot was headed by two famous horses. It represents Britannia, and as Britannia is a symbol of patronage, it boasts high durability. The activation of this noble phantasm summons forth the chariot to protect Boudica and her allies, being blessed with protection by the Celtic gods. This chariot has flight capability, but is not powerful when rammed into enemies. Its proper use should be that of a shield to protect companions. This is why Boudica drives the chariot, can still be seen in modern times as a bronze statue in London, on the Thames roadside in the Westminster area. So what's the whole thing about Boudica as a character? Well, she's actually very interesting, even though she is a person seeking revenge and being able to be summoned not only as a writer but berserker and avenger as well. That's very cool. And plus, her look on her third ascension, she gains a shield, a cape with fur embellishments, and a crown, and her hair is not held up in a ponytail anymore and grew longer. This beautiful bombshell of a lady is one of the most interesting Grand Order servants you can summon, due to her being someone who can fight and find vengeance against those who have tormented her, and being able to bring about a great power against those who have wronged her and her people. It's actually very cool to see. And that's one of the things I like about Boudica. And the most beautiful thing is that Boudica, when she wishes for the Grail, she wishes for Britannia to be peaceful and become a little harmonious. That's actually very cool. And her very sweet personality actually gives her moments of being a bit embarrassed. But anyway, that is all for the writer servant Boudica. Now tell me more servants that you like to see in the series as a whole. Keep that in mind the next time I talk about a servant. Well, that being the caster class. Will I be talking about another servant from Grand Order? Will I be talking about somebody from Fate Zero, Fate Stay Night? Anywhere, really. I could also be talking about one of the casters from Fate Apocrypha. I could even talk about Nursery Rhyme from Fate Extra. Let me know which caster you want me to talk about. Heck, I might even surprise you with which one I pick. This has been Serpentine 451. Sorry for a bit of the stuttering there. And I hope you guys like this video, comment, subscribe, and all that usual YouTuber stuff. So I will catch you guys next time.